This week's big review is Divergent Audio Group's Helios. Now this is an atmosphere and pulse sequencer running in the full version of Kontakt 5.6 and above. It's over 2 gigabytes in size and contains unlocked WAV samples. I love it when there's WAV samples included in a sample library. I do always appreciate being able to just drag and drop those even if I don't want to use the engine. There are 115 presets here, and the basic concept is that you load 2 sound sources and you can use 11 different arpeggio type controls to program rhythmic changes in volume, panning, pitch, filter cutoff, resonance, vox, lo-fi, tape saturation, rotator, phasing and drive. So there's a lot of different options for messing with the sound there. Each of these arpeggios can have a number of steps and you can also change their speed. There's also presets for the ARP shapes and a few overall presets for the whole ARP collection. Now because there's 2 sound sources, you can do this twice, and then there's a central panel where you can set up mixing between the 2 sources to create even more rhythmic patterns. That's got an arpeggio matrix on there as well. After all this, the sound feeds into an FX rack with 6 effects and more rhythmic ARPs that can be applied to make the sounds pulse. I hope that makes sense. Do check out the video online for a little bit of a better demonstration if I'm not explaining it that well. Within the effects rack there are 60 impulse responses, so we're going to have a listen to some of those and have a play through the presets. Good stuff about this library. First off, the interface. It's intuitive and the buttons are bright and they're simple and they're really well laid out. Now, because I'm used to this sort of instrument, it didn't take me too long to get my head around how it actually worked. So big plus points there. The rhythmic sort of dancing between the 2 sound sources often threw up some interesting contrasts in sounds, especially if you programmed it yourself rather than using the arpeggio presets. I also like the huge number of interesting impulse responses. They really do give a unique effect to the sound. Each one sounds markedly different than the next, and it resulted in some quite unusual tones. One big downside of this library, there's no manual for this product at the time of reviewing. Now that means that you'll have to work out for yourself where the snapshot files go. Because I've done this before and I've moved snapshot files around on my system for other libraries, I had no problems. However, anyone that's new to this is going to kind of get really lost. It's going to be impossible for them to know what to do. After speaking with the developers, they have got plans to put a manual in place and create a walkthrough video showing the functions, but be aware that there isn't one at the moment. So in conclusion, Helios sells for around £50, and for that price I think it's got some great functionality. With 115 presets on board, there's quite a variety in tone and timbre. If I was pushed, I'd say this instrument is best for sci-fi and hybrid scoring, as many of the sound sources are quite spacey, quite synthy. However, having said that, you could probably coax some quite organic sounds out of this with a bit of trial and error too. If you're already familiar with these kind of hybrid Kontakt instruments with multiple effects and rhythms, then Helios is worth a serious look. However, if you're a beginner in that field, perhaps look for something a little bit simpler, a little bit better explained to experiment with first. Thank you so much for watching. That's just a small taste of the Samplecast, a weekly podcast and YouTube show for sample library geeks and plugin enthusiasts. You can find out more information at thesamplecast.com. Don't forget to subscribe.